Oh, all right, everyone. We are back with the next episode of the Raiders Rambles. I am Joel, your chief host of the show, and as always, joining us is none other than my co-host Avira.
Hey, what's up, guys? Oh, I hope you're having a fantastic day. Can you believe it? It's the end of January already. Man, we're well into 2024. Might only be the first month, but oh my goodness. There's gonna be a lot of crazy bonkers stuff going on. I can't wait for this week.
I know, right? Like how fast has time flown? It's crazy, and we're out of the first month, just about.
Just about, yeah. Well, next week will be February 1st. So we'll see about that.
Damn right. And joining us on the show, as always, is our interim host, Noble.
Do not open until doomsday. I've been watching too many cartoons from the 90s.
Yes. Noble has given us the infinite wisdom of waiting until shit goes crazy. So, okay, sure. I guess we'll see. Don't open it until shit happens, right?
Pretty
Yeah, in
much.
the meantime, get yourself prepared for something that'll save you until when things really hit the fan.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, in all that stuff, I am obligated as the chief host, and as Noble is here, to tell you that we down here have celebrated our national holiday,
Hmm.
Australia Day.
And boy, oh boy, there was a shitstorm involved with that.
Oh yeah, tell me about it. Somebody's statue got. Apparently, I hear somebody's statue got chopped off. Legs, among other things, and how people are still basically throwing a big sook over. Ooh, but we invaded Australia.
Oh my goodness. Well, as an American doggo, I would be very much intrigued about what is up with Australian Day and why are so many people mad about it? So, what happened with the statue?
That's because they got upset over James Cook, who allegedly colonized Australia and landed the ships supposedly on January 26th. But
Mm,
no, the truth was James Cook landed a bit later than that. But still, the truth was January 26th was more about having independence from the British.
right, right. Because before that, what was it? James Cook, I believe, that discovered Australia.
He's the most
Technically,
well-known explorer to have discovered Australia. Yes,
as far as I know, yeah, yeah, he
like
was.
as far as the records go.
All
The reason why
right.
the first meeting was so basically batshit crazy is because the locals believed that the ship arriving were actual ghosts of the ancestors. So that sort of set the tone for the next few hundred years.
Hmm.
Just because some little shit decides to rock up in a ghost outfit doesn't mean that they're anyway.
I don't know, man. If I was on James Cook's crew, I'd be freaking like ecstatic. Like, hey, we just discovered a new continent. How cool is that, man? You know?
And it's gonna be your future home for years to come, and you and your descendants will inhabit the land.
Yeah,
Celebrating
well,
the
there you
fact
go.
that this place was used as a dumping ground for criminals is probably not the best option, but whatever.
It's not the best.
Yeah,
I
probably
mean,
some parts, but
don't
the
get me wrong,
entire continent, you know?
but I mean, look at it. At the end of the day, in hundreds of years ahead, these said criminals turned it into a colony and civilized it and turned it into one of the more, the most prosperous nations in the world,
If you could call Australia that
if
today.
you could call it
Yeah,
that.
you damn right. That's pretty cool, man. I mean, think about the same thing that happened with America. I mean, they were basically terrorists who were engaging in guerrilla war against the empire, and they established their own nation
Yeah.
because fuck England, basically. So
I mean, we're
there
still
you go.
the Commonwealth, but our story is not as illustrious as that. But at the end of the day, you know,
The
a
indigenous
country you make was
population,
born.
sorry, as I understand it, the indigenous population also helped with the forming of the United States government with the way it actually operates.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, definitely. And so I guess yeah, but really that aside, as far as it is though, I will always say this as a close, as a little tidbit of statement to celebrate your national holiday, no matter where you are in the world.
Yeah, right on.
Now we're gonna get to the main event. What everybody has been talking about the past 7 days.
Oh no.
Oh yes, you know it.
Oh,
You
whoa.
know it. Yeah, and it just blew up like the day after we saw it, we announced it, and then last week came out. Bam! Who would have thought it would be so
Yes, this was
popular?
one of the craziest things I've ever actually seen. I didn't realize that this would blow up this quickly, but it
I
did.
I know, and the numbers actually do speak for themselves. The community response speaks for itself too,
Hmm.
and how much content it has been made in just the span of a week is crazy. In fact, numbers do speak for itself first. Dude, in just 6 days, a bit less than that, 8 million sales of Power World on just Steam.
Oh boy. Yeah, so this is the introduction of Pal World, the greatest game sensation hitting the nation, right?
Oh, the
Across the
world,
entire world. This
from
is bonkers.
Japan to everywhere. Now, I mean, of course, you had last year's got us big hits like Hogwarts Legacy and Baldur's Gate 3, but Power World went way above and beyond that as to it's actually broken records.
It
It's
has. It has broken quite a few records. In fact, this is the most popular game currently
it's actually, yeah, like
as
number
we are. Yeah.
yeah, and the most played list
Hmm.
it's basically it's really like number two. It's almost number one at the in Steam's most played concurrent most played, which
Oh
is like
yeah.
how many players are
Yeah, they have
playing the game.
millions of players.
Right now, and
Easy.
in just less than a week, it actually surpassed the 2 billion mark of all-time peak players that playing a game at the
Mhm.
same time. And of course, PUBG Battlegrounds had 3.2 million, and Palworld's. Come on, are we expecting Palworld to tip that in just the span of another week or so? It could.
Yeah, I get that. And when when you're playing this game, I'm sure Joel, like you've probably experienced this as well. But when it comes to like glitches and
Yeah,
stuff, like the game is not entirely perfect yet, but it did just drop, and
yeah,
they're trying to like build upon it. So that's good.
that's right. I mean, yes, it's still an early access game. It's not.
But it's still so popular given like
Yeah,
the whole story and everything going on.
Okay,
and
so I'm
yeah.
looking at Steam right now, and to purchase this game, it's 5% off, so it's only $50 in
No,
Australia.
actually, when this game dropped originally, it was $30, and that's about half of literally every single Pokemon game even out there.
Hang on, Avira, you're talking about American dollars. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
that's right.
Australian.
30
Okay, so
Yep.
in the United
Australian
States, when it comes to American dollars, yeah, this was literally like $30
yeah,
USA, and it was reported as half the
Now,
cost of most games that are on stream right now. So yeah, of
yeah,
course, it's more accessible
I
to
should
people that
add
want to play it.
that for that price, you also get the soundtrack for the game.
Okay,
Otherwise, if you just buy the game itself, it's only $43.95. So
Australian.
I
even in
mean it's still a
Australia,
good
that
deal.
is less than half price of the actual Pokemon game.
Hmm.
Yeah,
You're
and
absolutely right. That
And
yep,
from what I understand, there is zero whatsoever microtransactions in the actual game itself. So you just buy the game
yep,
and you get to play it. That's it.
that's it.
not to mention, like you get like all these updates worth. You get the early access version, and like and then by the time the full version comes out, you already paid the small price of $26 or 40, 43 Australian, and you got your full game like on the line.
Yeah, right. Man, I couldn't believe that. I'm like, what the heck? Like, they're literally like, this game came out of nowhere like a week ago, and they've already sold over like what, like 7.5 million copies. I mean, holy
Vera,
bonkers!
6 million.
this game has been known about for over 2 years. That's how long, at
Yeah,
least
but it didn't
initially when it
drop
was
until
developed.
now.
Yeah, it didn't drop, but it has been known about for at least 2 years.
I'm
So it's
sure.
not
So is like
something that just
movies and
came
crap.
out of nowhere.
But I wouldn't say that. I mean, it definitely did because I never heard about this until now. Have you?
I mean, we've talked about it once as a brief glance, and then I've seen like the announcement trailers and what have you, and that was in 2022.
Because
Now
literally in the last week, this just this just went
it hit.
crazy,
It
man.
this charts have blown up. The reactions are insane. People love the game so much. I mean, heck, I'm hooked on the game, and I've only sunk in about what my Steam says it's sunk in about 27 hours.
Yeah, and you also spent like half of the money that you typically would have with
Yeah,
another
it's
game, right?
it's a great value proposition, and the
It's such a
develop
good
yeah
deal. Yeah, no wonder they're taking off. Of course they would.
yeah. In fact, like he chose not to price it that high, and yeah, it just bam, it
So,
really hit.
Jolt, you've been playing this game for well, a couple
Yeah.
days or so. What's your experience like?
Oh, mate, I've enjoying it right now. It runs smoothly. It's it plays fantastically. It looks great. Even though you basically have a conflict of art styles because you've got all these cute little critters and these super realistic looking guns.
Now, didn't they add those guns in just so it would sell in the US?
Yeah, actually, that's there's a developer statement here too, and he says a lot of things as well. But
Hmm.
more on that in a minute, though. So yes, I've been playing the game for 3 hours, and yes, there is stuff that you can do that that people Pokemon fans have been dying for, and
Uh-huh.
Power just delivered. You know, and that brings me
Oh
to
wow. Okay.
Noble. Like, do you feel like since you're really really deep into Pokemon, do you feel like the current crop of Pokemon games has gone stagnant?
Oh, hell yeah. They're terrible. Look, I get the idea about how they're changing things up. They've taken away a lot from the original gameplay. It's like Black and White was the last game where they put any serious thought into the storyline, and people just laughed at them, so they backed right off. Black and White was literally the best Pokemon game I've played so far, story wise. The last one I enjoyed was Sun and Moon, to a point, but there was a lot of annoying parts in that too. I mean, holy shit! And ever since going to the Switch, it's just been blah.
Right, like they
Hmm.
haven't really done anything, new outside of the wheel, like too different or anything like that. And then there was the saga with Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Ugh. I haven't even played that yet.
which is basically what fans have been like really clamoring for is a proper, really true open world Pokemon game too. But let me tell you this: in essence, like Palworld has basically done that and really just taken it up a notch because Palworld isn't just Pokemon with guns and forced labor, as people on the internet have said. It's more than that. Come on, Palworld is Pokemon plus an eclectic mix of other genres. It's a survival game with crafting. Think of it like it's got elements of from Fortnite, Ark Survival Evolved, Breath of the Wild, and Pokemon. That's pretty much what Palworld is.
There's some influence there for sure, but I wouldn't necessarily say that Pal World is, you know, banking on Pokemon or whatever.
No,
I don't think it's necessarily like they're, you know, trying
they're not deliberately trying
to
to
use that.
copy them.
No, like
Otherwise, the project would have been dead in the water, and the Pokemon company would have
maybe
sued
some
them.
inspiration or whatever, but
Yes,
at the end of the day, like it's a totally different game, and
yes,
it's been a lot different than from what a lot of people have seen. We've never seen guns and characters and animals and all that crap like all together. It's
especially
a very interesting
not when you
situation.
can capture them in a goofy way rather than a realistic way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, right.
I mean, heck, so you throw these not what you'd call these not Pokeballs, and bam, you captured a little monster. Yeah. So, but yes, it does involve the funny because you do have to beat them with your fists or a weapon first.
Well, how else are you going to tame these radical monsters, right?
Right. So, to get to what the developers have said, yes, there's a couple of things. They were interviewed on Japanese TV, and yeah, some of them have said, none of these guys knew how to develop a game. We all learned on the job and had a starting budget of 10,000 US dollars. You
Wow,
saw
that's
it.
it.
Well, there's more, but you saw it, right? Like friggin', you saw how good the game looks graphically. You saw how good the game runs smoothly in that. And if they produced that with a starting budget of $10,000 versus like what passes for Pokemon today, which they have like millions of dollars to develop a
Oh
game.
yeah. Well, at the end of the day, like in my opinion, it's really not the amount of money. It's about people who want to play the game, like what they think. If
There's,
if they have fun with it, like if it's cool, if it's good or whatever, they don't give a flying fuck about how much money it costs. At the end of the day, like they really don't.
yeah,
So
and
price wise, how much money did Meta sink into their what was that game called? Metaverse?
yeah, like
Yeah,
billions of
right.
dollars.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and basic like let's say Metaverse developed
$36 billion.
$5 billion.
Yeah, all of
Metaverse at
those many,
36.
all of that money, and at the end of the day,
What have they
us
got going
normal
for it?
players did not give a shit. They're just like, well, you just made a crappy game and you just spoiled all your money, so who cares?
Right? Like you spend all that money on a shit VR world, and then what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
So
you
why would you want to play that? Like, if you want to just escape the world and just like have fun and play a game or whatever,
yeah,
like, why would you even bother?
So when it
exactly.
comes to games, this is the thing I'm sort of boggling my mind at. This whole Pokemon clones, Pokemon wasn't the original. Pokemon and Digimon were basically the same type of franchise, except one
Hmm.
dealt with a bunch of kids getting kidnapped and taken to some other world, where Pokemon occurs in their like real life thing. Both have
Hmm.
Yeah,
monsters in it.
in their world.
There's
It,
Temtem, there's Dragon Quest, um, Cassette Beasts. What's
yeah,
Dragon Quest? There's Ark. It's basically the same sort of thing. What else was there?
and then
Yokai
don't
Watch.
get me started about the mobile market because the whole
Oh hell yeah!
everybody's trying to get in on the whole monster like game genre. There's Monster Hunter too.
Yokai Watch was supposed to take over from Pokemon. It was supposed to move the they were supposed to kill off Pokemon, and Yokai Watch was supposed to be the new thing. It didn't take off. I haven't seen any shows for Yokai Watch yet. I
Right.
mean, it kind of reminds me of Yu-Gi-Oh. So in Yu-Gi-Oh, the main character is known as the King of Games, not the King of Cards, the King of Games. So
Mm.
what the show did was they went, okay, all right, let's move on to the next thing. Instead of cards, we're going to go with Dungeon Dice Monsters. Yeah, the fans basically put that to a rest very quickly. So now you got several series of, yeah, just basically one part
Yeah,
of what was
but
supposed to be
I
one
think,
part of the franchise.
but in this case, what we're dealing with is actually a situation where a power vacuum you know is there on the market, and guess what? Power basically filled it in perfectly because Nintendo, in their ever limiting wisdom of releasing on Nintendo Switch and mobile devices, yeah, you know what Powell did?
Well,
They released it on Steam and Xbox Game Pass.
here's the thing: if the Pokemon Company, or no, sorry, Game Freak, had the resources to produce a damn good game, they would
Yeah,
have. Except, from what I understand, because of the whole black and white fiasco, they've just given up creating a good story, creating good
Hmm.
gameplay. It's now just let's slap whatever we can together in about 12 months and then ship this for the we have to release the game every X amount of months. It's just ridiculous. Every 4 years release a new game. It's like no,
yeah, 3 years I think, like every generation now.
it, they're not given the time to invest as well into producing like proper games. It's just killing it for the franchise.
Yeah. Now, here's what the developers have to say about the game, which brings us to the fine point about Americans and stuff. And I'll get Aviora to confirm if this is true or not. They said the decision to make a Pokemon with guns was because they were worried the game would not be a global success unless they added guns to it because, quote unquote, Americans like to shoot things.
Well, okay. As an American, uh, given my support for the Second Amendment, yes, Americans do like to shoot things. But when it comes to this game, I don't think I'd like to shoot Pokemon. I wouldn't like to shoot pals either.
I mean, unless it all depends on it, and yeah, your pals can do all the fighting. But yeah, but it's an innate thing. Like people do like to shoot things. It's not just Americans. And
Well,
yeah,
this is more of a survival thing, right? Like, so when you have your pals, like, aren't they like on your farms and able to,
yeah, and they
I
can
don't
be,
know,
they accompany you,
yeah,
have you. But yeah, but really, from an aesthetic point, you know, they just took from a conceptual standpoint. They just took Pokemon, added guns, let the pals actually wield
yo,
guns.
if a Gyarados tried to attack me, of course I'd shoot the fuck out of that shit. Obviously.
You'd need a bazooka for a
You
Gyarados.
have to. Like, some Pokemon are fucking crazy. When it
Well,
comes
in the
to this
Pokemon,
game, I don't know about that.
as I understand in Pokemon lore, the only reason why it was safe for kids to actually go out is because they invented the capsule ball. Oh shit! How about that? Dragon Ball Z, the Dragon Ball franchise itself, has a similar sort of concept by these little cylinders where you push the button, throw it, and you get all of a sudden a giant ass house.
Yeah, what? What the heck?
Keeping something big in something small is something Japan's played around with for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Not just Pokemon.
Oh, here's an interesting statement that's more relevant to our times. The well, one was gender neutral. The Type A, Type B body type characters instead of describing a male and female that you see these days was the developer said it was done so likewise because quote unquote Americans sometimes want to make very ugly characters.
Uh,
What?
I don't know, man. The Japanese seem to know what's up more than the Americans do.
I think it's a
So
way to stop the porn, but unfortunately, that probably didn't work out so well for them.
so Edira, what do you have to say in your defense as an American?
I think whoever this Japanese individual was that said that, they don't necessarily understand the complexities of America.
No, but they do understand some batshit crazy wino going off at them
Oh,
at
Right, right. Well, they
especially
get
of
that for sure. Like that's why
oh
they want to make it all bonkers and shit.
yeah. I mean, fuck. You
But no, man, come on.
I mean, yeah. Modern America produces some pretty very ugly characters. I say
You're
modern.
right. Yeah, but they do that because of its whole political agenda and shit. Japan doesn't do that. Of course they wouldn't. They want to make like sexy anime characters or whatever.
Exactly. And for real, like I think you'll be surprised at the character customization that you get offered. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I am.
Yeah, but the last bit of this interview that the developer said is the most pertinent one. Read this statement at the bottom. When asked, "What is your creative vision?" the guy just says, "I don't have a creative vision. I just want to make a game that people like."
Well, in that case, I think that's kind of upsetting. That if you're literally a game developer and you don't have a creative vision, then why in the crap would I even want to bother playing your game? Like, that just sounds super lame to me, right? Like, if the creator doesn't care, then why should you?
Oh, he does because he said he made a game that people liked, and look at where that ended up.
Yeah, but with zero intuition, zero creativity, fuck that shit.
Hmm.
Nah,
I
I
mean,
don't
it's like
think that's cool.
you almost can argue that it's like he flew by the seat of his pants and found an idea that works, and then just bam, went with it. But either way, yes, I do. I will say this though: you are having a creative vision is part of the process. Like
That's what
yes,
it's all about, man. Like that's why you're going into
but
this profession.
also knowing something that makes that ticks all the right buttons and that people would like is also very important. And
True.
and people have been hungry for like a good Pokemon game. That's why like everybody's trying to get their hand in on the market, and you can clearly see that there's a vacuum that's waiting to be filled.
Oh yeah,
So there. So yeah,
that's why Pal World is so popular.
right.
Not necessarily comparing this to Pokemon or whatever. It's just like,
Yeah, but say one week in and it's insane.
yeah.
And yeah, and the reactions to it though, dude, bug. It's insane. It's broken a lot of people in just a span of a week. It's crazy. It broke friggin' it. I mean, it broke the diehard Pokemon fans as one thing, and then it broke Peter.
Oh yes.
Ah yes, PETA, the the almighty virtuous group. Let's see what they have to say about this group.
Okay, let's say this is what they said. They're aware. Peter's aware of this game. And then what does they say? Here's what they say. Well, Peter has already heard from many Power World fans who have no interest in eating pals and want a vegan guide created for the game. It's quote unquote veganuary after all, and gamers want to help animals by eating vegan in their game worlds and outside. Bro, bro, what? Bro, what? I
Yeah,
haven't heard
see,
of this
the more of
veganuary.
the more of this shit that goes on, the more I'm thinking that Power World is really just Pokemon for adults.
Yeah, but it made someone like us, like me, even feel like a kid again. It,
The
it's
fact that PETA has even made a statement about this game. Now, Jolt and Noble, you guys remember back when PETA made a statement about that game Animal Crossing, right? How
Uh-huh.
fishing was somehow evil and bad, and that was against like animal rights or some stupid bullshit that they were trying to profess. Well, look at what's happening now. They're doing the same thing.
I
No, it
will.
sounds like they became aware of the game, but they weren't really interested in following it up. If
No,
that's
of
all the
course
statement
not.
they produced, meh. It's like
That
Nintendo's statement. It only came out because so many people were contacting them.
Yeah,
Hmm.
right. Like Nintendo, please, like, oh, Power's copying your shit. Please put a stop to them.
It's like nothing they can do, except for that game, the mod that was released with the actually
Right,
injected
because the
Pokemon, and they
problem
knocked
was,
that. See, here's the thing: if there was something wrong with Power World, it wouldn't have been up for more than 48 hours, 72 at the most. And how long's it been out for now?
a week,
How long was that Pokemon mod available for?
a couple days, and then
Yeah.
Nintendo came after them. The problem was that Pokemon mod for Power World, the guy basically was a dumb shit and decided to charge money for it. And of course, there's like a lot of legal hoopla and stuff all with
So
that monetization.
if there was anything legally questionable about the game in refers to Nintendo's copyright, it would have been closed, but the game would be unavailable by now.
Yeah,
Sorry, just that legal thing really shocked me. I love people, and it's so stupid. I need more popcorn.
yeah, and there's a lot too. I mean, of course, yeah, there's that. There's the whole, Pokemon, Power World is copying these rip-off Pokemon designs by having these such close resemblances. It does your head in.
I'm not sure. It's very impressive just how crazily popular that this game has become.
Yeah, I mean, day one, of course, you got top streamers basically picked up the game and said, "Dude, it's great. Yeah, it's crazy." And like, in fact, you've seen it. Like, there are some people who said, "Oh, who went to great lengths. They tried to they put the models between Pokemon and Power World, like side by side, and they said like the body proportions match, and it's like, dude,
Yeah, I saw a YouTube video yesterday about Pal World and about how they were like screwing off with like the Pokemon looking characters. They did not look the same at all. It seems like a lot of people are just trying to, I don't know, jump on the clout train because they're like, oh, well, this new game is so super popular and I don't like it because you're doing this, but like they actually
or
didn't though.
maybe they're coming from a position of super defensiveness because
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know, maybe Power World is basically is threatening to usurp Pokemon's throne. Maybe
yeah.
they feel like Pokemon is not as invincible as it once was, and it's
So
kind of proved that.
the thing that I have to point out is, and a lot of people like to throw the word around the word Nazi, but a lot of people are acting like Nazis at this point. What the Nazis would do is they'd go around and they'd heckle and they'd harass and they'd bother people, beat them up, threaten them, that sort of shit. And that's what a lot of Power World simps are doing. Verbally assaulting people online, going completely batshit crazy to try to beat something out. Is this how you want to show yourself? You show what kind of people you are? Great, fine. By all means, we all get to sit back and watch you act like a complete fucking idiot, and then just go and walk away.
You know,
Sending death threats to the game devs at bloody Power World is fucking ridiculous. Knock it off. Or just keep doing it if you feel like it's absolutely necessary, but it just shows the kind of person you are.
well,
A
that's
fucking
messed up.
Nazi.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like if you're sending death threats or violent accusations or whatever the crap, that's kind of fucked. But when it comes to like a new game that happens to be extremely popular, literally selling over what like 8 million copies in like 10 days. I mean, that's insane. Not even 10 days. What, like a week? Yeah.
Yeah, a week.
So of course, some radicals are going to take issue with that, get all jealous of its popularity, and be like, "Well, I mean, you're animal abusive." Oh my god, that's what PETA fucking tried to do.
I mean, that's
Idiots.
knowing them though. But I will say one spoiler alert though. It is technically possible to go the vegan route. You don't even have to butcher any cows or nothing. And at least you can. I'm sure you've heard of something called agriculture.
Oh yes, I have. So, Jolt, this is an option in the game, right? Like you can
Mm.
actually not have to eat animals, right?
Yeah, of course. You don't even have to eat or cook their meat.
All right,
Okay.
so this is a question I should ask. Have any of you ever played Postal?
I have
No,
not.
but I know I've heard of it. It's
Okay, so I played Postal 2 Apocalypse and Postal 2 Apocalypse Weekend. Now,
Mhm.
this game, you can successfully complete it by literally just walking from one end to the map to the other. That's it. Now, there are things that will sort of get in your way, but you can easily side around them. However, you can do things such as obtain firearms and shoot and kill people. You can train dogs to attack people. You can beat people up. You can piss on people. You can do a horrendous amount of disturbing and disgusting things that makes Grand Theft Auto look like Play School. So, I am curious with what you're talking about with the eating and not eating of animals. Is that the same in Power World? You basically can do whatever you want, and there's no strict goals into completing the
no.
actual
I mean,
game
yeah, you
itself.
can. Yeah, you don't even have to eat their meat or kill them. Or I mean, heck, because vegans are so into like not using animal-based products for fashions. Yeah, I wonder how you're gonna clothe yourself because
Would
there's
these vegan activists be like super mad if? All right. Um, you saw those Pal World creatures, right? They look like sheep, like fluff balls, basically.
yes, yeah,
So
Rambles.
if you were to shave them and like use their fur to like make your clothes, would that be a bad thing or no?
That wouldn't be. I mean, no, that wouldn't be vegan because wool is an animal product.
Oh my god! So that's not okay, right?
No,
What
and
the
I
crap?
don't know. I haven't gone far into the game yet, and as far and I'm, you know how these days you can, cotton and that is through agriculture. Yeah, I'm not quite sure if you can do agricultural, fabric textiles yet. But thus far, I've had to beat up sheep for their wool, and kill wolves for their leather. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, at least you're going like the whole Native American route. Like you can use every kind of aspect of their bodies. That's cool. Can you really do that in the game?
I mean, yeah, monsters drop stuff. It's remember, it's still a game. Yeah, monsters still drop stuff.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
they still drop all that stuff, and punching a lamb you will to death means that you will retrieve a piece of their meat.
Hmm.
Doesn't mean that doesn't mean you have to eat it raw. Which you can eat it raw.
I mean, I used to play Pokemon games, and Magikarp sushi sounded pretty damn good to me.
That was a bit of a thing when Pokemon came out that you really couldn't eat Magic Carp because it was nothing but scales and bones.
Nah, nah, there's some good meat in there. Hopefully, I heard about that too. Oh man.
And it's just so funny. Like the idea of eating Pokemon is a very much a crazy, crazy thing when you're in this universe. It's what the fudge. But at least in Pals, it's just straight up open. And in fact, you know what's so funny? That's so grimly funny is that Pals are inherently omnivores, and you can feed a sheep a meat of its own kind, and it would just be that.
You can do
Okay.
cannibalism in the game.
No, it's not cannibalism. Like you're taming the beasts, right? You're like
Yeah,
in the world.
yeah. With the with these not Pokeballs, and you do have to feed them.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can like capture the beasts and make them work for you. I guess maybe that's why Peter was so upset
No, it's because
because
I
they're
think
like,
they were
how
just
dare these fictional characters
nah. They just
be
want to.
slaves to the humans?
That's exactly it. Oh, and if you thought that was bad, I'm not gonna say everything else, but there's so much more hold my beer moments. You thought giving a squirrel a gun you thought giving a squirrel a gun was crazy? Nah, you ain't seen nothing.
Yeah, I think giving a gun to a squirrel would be totally fucking bonkers, man. What do you mean?
I know, and you haven't seen some of the crazy stuff yet. You ain't seen any of it yet. No, seriously, you don't see all that stuff. Joe, get the game.
Well, as far as I heard, the game is pretty much in its like I wouldn't say beta version per se,
Yeah,
but it's still pretty new. So
yeah,
there's still a bunch of glitches out there that a lot of
I know.
you know. There's
They're
that.
still working on it, but it's very much playable. It runs smoothly.
Oh
It's
yeah,
got a
yeah.
lot of depth, a lot of content. It'll
Mhm.
last you for hours, and yeah, it's just so richly satisfying.
Yeah, and that's honestly awesome.
Exactly. But I suppose there's more to it too. But I suppose that's pretty much. Actually, no. There is one last thing that people still kind of got iffy about as well. Like they accuse Palworld
Hmm.
of, and that's the allegation that they may or may not have used AI to generate.
Oh, I
And
love
would that
this.
be their story or character
No,
development or like actual character creation or like what do you mean? How 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 did they use AI per se?
it's it's more like they accuse them of getting them using AI to generate the designs.
Oh, okay, so like the pals themselves, they were like AI generated. Like, is that
That's
what
the
people are saying?
accusation. That's the thing that they're accusing the developers of.
Huh?
But it's and that's because they might
How
have
can you
made
tell? I mean, how can you tell the difference? I mean, was it?
no, I don't know. It's not AI developed. It's not. I mean, yeah,
No,
they made
they're
a
3D models. I don't
yeah.
think AI is that advanced yet, where they can do that kind of stuff.
I mean, if you were to really make one with AI, you just use an AI to generate an image of like a fake Pokemon, and then if
Right,
you like
right.
it, you just port it, and then you build a 3D model off of that.
Look, to save a shit ton of time, I can see something like that being an actual thing. Personally, though, generating say like 500 and picking the best that you like from that, I'm not too fussed about that. I mean, as long as the work afterwards is primarily done by, well, actual people, what's wrong with AI character design? Um, so there was a company I came across one day, and they had this little video. What they would do is they put this weird liquid on a CD. It would screw around with the data or something. They put it in, and they get like these mangled mashes of furniture, and then they'd make something from that. Creativity comes from all kinds of places. Because a computer is capable of doing it now, it's like, yeah.
That's a good point, actually.
Yeah. But really, even if the developer himself is, is in support for AI generating stuff, it's
I don't know. I feel like there's a stigma against AI art because if, let's say, you're a video game developer and you're using this new tool to develop characters, and you're like, oh, that looks cool. A computer made it, but we can probably build on that. It's not necessarily out of human hands, you know?
right, right.
Maybe it's alright. Fuck if I know.
I mean, yeah, that makes two of us because it just doesn't head in. But no, really, because the game came out in 2022, and remember, AI didn't really, well, not well. The first announcement trailers came out in 2022. I should correct myself. And AI didn't really emerge on the scene until 2022, like your
Mhm.
DALL-Es and stuff.
Right, right.
And because it's been in development for a bit earlier than that, then yeah, there's no way the designs could have been made with AI.
Unless, of course, they've time travel, at which point, where's the office? I want the time machine.
I mean, if it was literally like a video game made in AI, yeah, it's probably like some 2034 shit or whatever. Like, it's not. Nah. This was obviously made by people. It still has some bugs, but as far as I can tell, this is literally like the most popular game literally at the moment. Over 2 million people are playing this every single day, which is insane. In what, like a week? They sold like 7 million ideations of this game, and that's pretty darn incredible.
Well, wait until you get like the years ahead. They're gonna really top the charts so much. Like, and
I'm not saying it was made by AI. I mean, it's probably just people that did this.
yeah,
But still,
animated all that stuff. And of course, as I was saying, AI didn't really emerge on the scene until 2022, and
mm,
2022 was when the game was announced.
right, right.
Yeah, it's been, of course, and it was already looking pretty okay in development. So yeah, but at the end of the day, though, like let's close this up for the whole Powell thing at the. But what do you guys think? Like, what after all the stuff that you've seen, like what really do you make of it all?
It's hard to say because I would like to think that Palworld is not a fad. You know, like it's not going to be some kind of game that pops up out of nowhere, gets all these millions of followers, and then just like drops away. I think if they're able to sustain it, they can build up a community of like a bunch of gamers, and it'll be more popular and stuff. Maybe that'll happen.
Yeah, yeah, sure. like with all the reactions to, and no, what about you? Like,
I'll be honest. The only reason why I want to play Pokemon is for Pokemon. This game itself, it doesn't really interest me in playing it. Just the mechanics is not what I want to play. And I can't comprehend for the life of me why people are getting so unhinged about this game. It's just another game. It was made by a small team. It's not that expensive. Why are you losing your shit? Just let it be. It's its own thing. It's like you yourself. You are allowed to be there as much as this game is allowed to be sold.
yeah,
If you take issue with that, then you're pretty much the problem.
and I guess like from there, there's a lot of other things to be said as well. But what do you think would be the next best step if you were the Pokemon company and after seeing this now that Palworld's burst onto the scene and it's in a big way, what we what
Probably
would
look
you?
at redoing my whole company because obviously we're screwing up something shocking.
Yeah,
Well, the Pokemon games, like, the whole industry, let's be real, guys. We know for quite some time that they've kind of been stagnant. It's kind of been stale. It's the same kind of thing. Pokemon has been going on for like over 30 years, basically, thereabouts. But this is a new kind of trajectory, and it has nothing to do with Pokemon. It doesn't. Even though, of course, they've taken some inspiration from it. I don't really see that as some kind of knockoff or whatever. Like, this is something different. I mean, guns and fantasy characters and all that awesome stuff. You know what? This is cool.
For a
It's
foreign,
totally different kind of game, and I don't think that they're ripping anyone off. I
the
don't
thing,
think that.
the thing that really surprises me is that a foreigner, this game company, figured out how to, sell to Americans.
Mm. Well, yeah,
Sorry,
there's that. Yeah,
I gotta give him
good for
points
that.
for that.
100%. Totally true, man. Like, yeah, okay, of course, the Westerners are gonna love this shit. So let's go. Hey, you know what? It worked out. I mean, 7 million copies sold. I mean, that's kind of cool. Good for them. And if it's a fun game, you know what? If it's different enough, if it's like a whole alternative, whatever the crap, yeah, that's pretty darn cool.
yeah.
And if you enjoy playing the game, then freaking go for it.
At the end of the day, there's been such some a big vacuum in the market that nobody, you've seen it like Noble, like none of the Pokemon like alternatives, Temtem, Cassette Beast, and all that, they haven't been able to be Pokemon killers.
But this game's surely gotten a, stab at it.
Yeah, and in such a big way too. Like the reaction is just staggering. And and right now, if I were the Pokemon company, you're right. Like you'd basically look at it and like do something, like shave off all that stuff that's causing problems, and maybe frick. If I were them, I'd honestly like think about telling Nintendo to make a Switch 2 Quick Smart, so that Pokemon can finally be on the next, be up to scratch with the technology.
Or maybe just a different game came out and maybe they're just jealous. I don't
I don't know. At least right now, it's almost as if is there to remind you that they're still there and on the scene,
know.
while all the kids have moved playing Power World. But yeah,
Well,
no,
I'm a fan of both. You know what? It's all good.
me too, me too. In fact, it was so crazy. Like, you wouldn't believe this, but I saw so much Pokemon and Pokemon stuff in Korea on my vacation to Korea. It's crazy. Yeah, they're crazy for Pokemon, all right. And I got me the Pokemon merch. It's great. yeah. So imagine that, like maybe a few years down the line, you know, Palworld's got a like a clear roadmap for what it wants to do in the future, but maybe a few years down the line, you know, Palworld gets all marketable. Who knows? We'll see. Plushies, all that good stuff.
Oh, the plush. Oh, for sure. That's going to be a good marketing tactic. Absolutely. All the merchandise. Hell yeah.
Mm. But you know what? Until then, it's almost as if, you know what, you just have to laugh at the sheer outlandishness of it all and just embrace it. Really, if I were you. But yeah, but really, I guess that's pretty much what it is at the moment, though. So, I guess like one last question I do have to say to you guys is like, what do you think? What do you think is going to be on the cards for the future of these things? With with the whole Pokemon scene. Like, do you reckon Pokemon's gonna like literally like get themselves up by the bootstraps and actually make a game that people want to play so that they
Well,
can,
that's going to be the thing, whether or not investing money into trying to produce a better game or just vomiting out the same old shit as they always have that still sells anyway.
hmm
That's a good point. In my opinion, Pokemon, like that whole franchise, they already have a solid base, right? So, like any kind of new game or whatever kind of media that they're going to produce, of course, the original fan base is going to support that. So I really don't think this is going to hurt Pokemon in any kind of way. I really don't.
maybe in the games department because, like we said, Pokemon games have become stagnant and
Well, they have exactly, but that's what I mean. But like the whole like fandom base wants
right.
stability, right? Like they don't want like change. I guess.
But I think now they
Um,
got to change
I don't
because
know.
Power World's gonna provide some real competition.
Yeah, but it it does seem to be doing that. That's one of the big things we're talking about, man. I don't know. Uh, if I was a Pokemon executive, I would try to reassure my original fan base that, hey guys, it's all good. We got some new Pokemon stuff coming out or whatever, but we don't have to compete with this new game, which doesn't necessarily uh, have to compete with them. Maybe one day it will, but for now, I don't know. I think it's different enough where new fans can come on board, you know? I'd like to think that, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't.
Yeah, who knows? But no matter what happens, though, Power World's here. Regardless of what you think of it, Power World is here to stay. That's the long and short of it. So, in that sense, that it's high time that we closed up this episode. Who'd have thought, like something so big just got everybody talking so much. It's crazy.
As they say, clown world.
hmm In the meantime, though, one last question for you guys: would you want like a mini jolt on your head with a gun?
I'd prefer not to.
Like fuck, you see that thing, he sits on your head, and then you're like, how the heck do you not go deaf from that thing shooting bullets? All right. So I guess without any further ado, I think that's that. So as always, well, we won't need a closing statement because that's pretty much all we spent time talking about. So to round this off, as always, our episodes are available on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, Plato FM, iHeartRadio, BitChute, and more further down the line. All right. This is us signing off for the week. Farewell. Until next time.
Thanks for all the fish.
Much love, guys. See you next week.